birthday card from Dad on Mum's dresser, which he gave her 3 days before he passed. It reads, "To my darling girl." I suspect Dad had written the same message every year since they met. Underneath that pragmatic and stoic and highly competent exterior, Dad was actually a fierce romantic, and Mum was too. When they married in 1964, I don't suspect any couple ever lay more emphasis on the vow "till death us do part." Mum said they had extraordinary chemistry on that first sight across the punts. And before she knew it, Dad was heading off to London to dine with her at a place called Tiddy Dole's in Shepherd's Market, with a stolen kiss goodnight in Hyde Park before she bussed back to Mill Hill, and Dad was on the last train to Oxford to climb back into college after dark. Given his fierce intellect, one suspects the young scholar's 2-1 was largely as a result of the trips to see Mum in S.H. Benson, a glamorous advertising agency at the time, in Cavendish Square, and a few creaky board and lodgings with the girls at Beecham Place. They considered eloping to a secret wedding in Oxford, but good sense prevailed, and they waited until Dad was a grad trainee at AEI Hot Point. Mum remembers eating sandwiches at the airport on their wedding day, waiting for their plane to Paris. For those of you who have ever travelled with Mum and Dad, a sandwich and a cold glass of wine is a ceremony that they have every time they've been to London Airport ever since. Mum remembers their honeymoon in Paris and the bateau mouche by night. The desire to cruise upon moon rivers, I think, has continued all the way through their life. Mum remembers the long drive to Chevenix and the Touraine on their honeymoon. And as my brother and sister will attest, we seemed to spend an awful lot of time driving together. And it became like a boardroom with Mum taking shorthand while Dad ran through the family agenda. And so as Dad climbed the ranks of his career, Mum followed, supporting his every step, building homes, finding friends, and delivering family in Combrook, Warmington, Warwick, and finally for the last 32 years in Brightwell. Strangely, during that time, she also did her stint as a PA to a pig farmer, chef to boardrooms, flower arranger, but essentially, Mum was the rock to Dad's role and alma mater to her family. That's not to say being married to a captain of industry didn't have its perks for Mum, or indeed for those who worked for Dad. The honour to play the chief executive's wife at tennis was a staff incentive at one stage, and Mum plays mean tennis. Between Mum and Dad, they turned down glamorous corporate moves to Canada and Japan to stay amongst family and friends and to keep things grounded. Mum often said how generous, loyal and caring Dad was. He was the consummate gentleman. Even when the newspapers ruffled his feathers or the barbecue wouldn't light, his bonhomie would bring warmth to any occasion. As Mum says, and these are her words, he was invincible. He was always right, and most often he probably was. He was adventurous and he was meticulous in his planning of adventure. He considered it his civic duty to defrost any fridge, clean any dishwasher, and always have a glass of cold white to hand. He was undaunted by anything that life threw at him, and that's because his partner, Mum, was always by his side. Because most of all, he loved his darling girl. When they celebrated their golden wedding anniversary last April with us and our children, it was all too apparent they retained the very same zest as lovers, partners, pillars in every decision, every action we all made and continue to make in our family. Whatever happened to them through their rich 51 years, they could all rely on each other for the simple comforts: a laugh, a glass of wine, a good meal, a beautiful home, and a loving family. In fact, one of Dad's favourite songs probably tells it best. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.